All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Naviar Virtual. Today, I have here with me Jeffrey Smith, also known as 33 Pair. Hi, Jeff. It's good to have you here today with us.
Lovely to be here. Finally, and to finally meet you too, actually.
Yeah. Likewise. Likewise. First of all, Jeff, I would like to ask you about your pseudonym, 33 Pair. Is there an explanation behind it?
Yes, there is actually, and you're part of that story, would you believe? So when I first started making music at Naviar, I was called. It had a D on the beginning, so it was basically a sort of a play. It was deeper, Deeper, and then I thought I'll change the E's to threes. And then when we did a virtual concert, I'd be over a year ago, I noticed when you made the poster, the D had dropped off, and I thought, oh, I prefer it. So you actually named this, would you believe? I know you and it's just I've kept it from there, and it's it's a little bit. I like the look of it graphically, and that's why it's stayed. So yeah, there you go. So it was on. I got my name from a poster that you made, basically.
All right, that's I had no idea.
Thank you. So what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, but I think I kind of like that as well. You know, I don't even know how to say it, to tell you the truth. Because I have no very few times I need to say it. I write it and that's it. So yeah, it's cool.
Okay, all right. Well, I totally agree with the fact that, you know, sometimes things don't need to have a meaning. I mean, Naviar doesn't have a meaning. It doesn't mean anything. So
that's why Naviar. So it's that same thing, is it?
It was my mom's name was Ivana, and I kind of wanted to have a name that reminded me of her, and initially I wanted to call Naviar Navia, so it's just basically playing with the letters, but Navia already exists, so I went for Naviar with the R at the end. So there is really no deep explanation behind it.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think that's part of my ethos as well. Is, you know, if things like that happen, I just go with them now. It's kind of, you know, it's meant to be.
Yes.
So yeah.
I agree. Okay, so Jeff, I'm going to ask you. Usually, I start the interviews with a question about the artistic path of the artist. So I would like to know a little bit more about your music career. And I also know that you make movies and 3D animations. Actually, you made a fantastic video for us as well for the track "Short Days" by Wrath Robin, which we released a month ago. And so I would like to know a little bit more about both your careers as a musician and as a filmmaker as well.
Okay. Pretty much I started, well, I was sort of 14 when punk rock happened, or first broke in like 76, 77. So it was kind of the perfect time to be a 14-year-old and start playing music. So that's how I got my start. I played in punk bands. And then probably about 1980, I joined a band in New Zealand called the Pneumatics. And we were sort of, I guess you'd call us New Zealand's version of the Specials, that kind of thing, a sort of a ska punk kind of sound. And we toured a lot, played lots of gigs, and released 3 singles, which all did all right. And so that was kind of my first foray into playing music, and we took it pretty seriously, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great time. After that, a lot of us went to England, because the UK was kind of, you know, the centre of music for particularly for the type of music that we were doing. So it was a big draw card, and I was there for probably probably a bit longer, 4 years, and then came back to New Zealand and got into sampling. I bought an EPS and an early Atari Mega 1, so it had like 1 mega RAM, you know, and some software called Notator, which later became Logic. And I spent a lot of time just writing in my bedroom on that thing. And then, so that got me into being creative on a computer, basically. And from there, I luckily got a job as a computer animator. And this was sort of back in the beginning of 1990s. So it was sort of very early days of computer animation. Terminator 2 hadn't even come out at that stage. And so it was a very exciting time. I sort of got to evolve with as 3D got better and better at. I sort of was able to evolve with that, and that. So that led on to doing, you know, animation and you name it. 3D just went everywhere. It was on TV commercials, it was in films. It was so it sort of went from something that you'd go to a party and people would say, "Oh, what do you do?" "I do 3D." Well, no one knew what you did, and there were like 5 of us in Auckland doing it. To, you know, now the school's pumping out hundreds of kids a year. So it's certainly changed a lot, and it's been a really cool thing to be involved in. As part of that, I then got into filming, into interactive, and, you know, once you're doing anything on a computer, and that applies to music too. I haven't stopped playing music, and for me, they're just all one. You know, I don't see any difference between editing and mixing. They are the same. It's the same process. You know, and I think in a funny kind of way, that's probably one of the problems with it. We kind of treat them as separate entities. But if you can mix, then you can edit. You know, if you can make a track, you should be able to make something visually. I don't see a difference in that. So yeah, so that, and then about 2 years ago, COVID hit, and I've always been making this music, and I just sort of back it up on a hard drive. And I was getting to the stage where I was losing stuff. I'd drop a hard drive, and that was it. You know, years and years of music had gone, which was quite freeing. And I decided, I should just put it on YouTube. So 2 years ago, I just, as COVID hit, I started to make tracks and make a little video and just put it on YouTube. And after about, I don't know, 6 months of doing that, I discovered you and Naviar Music and the haiku. And I was hooked. That was it. And that sort of gave me a home, really, and a community and a sort of, yeah, and a kind of a meaning for doing it in a funny kind of way as well. So yeah, so thank you for that. You know, it's been a really cool thing to you get the haiku on a Wednesday. It's really like, or Thursday. It's really it's like a start of a cycle, and yeah, it's a process which I really enjoy and have been thoroughly enjoyed doing. You know, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, really, and I'm humbled. There is one thing you said, Jeff, that that's very interesting. You said that if someone can make visuals, they should also be able to make music as well. And it's interesting because I have the impression that there are so many software, for example, these days, there are so many ways of making things that
Yeah.
Well, this is also personal experience that sometimes it's overwhelming. You know, you have this okay, you decide one day that you want to make music. Maybe you already have some background, but then you have to learn how to record it, how to use a DAW, and it can be complicated at times. So what do you think about it? So since you say that if someone can do one thing, then almost automatically they should be able to do something else, as if they were related somehow. So how do you think that's possible?
I think two things have been happening. You know, if you go back, say 30 years, 40 years, if you wanted to make a film, it was impossible to make unless you collaborated with lots of people, because of the different jobs required such a different skill set. Now, a lot of those skills now are all on the computer. So, for example, editing you used to have to use a particular machine, and you were editing on film. You had to, you know, there's a craft in cutting film. If you made a mistake, you know, there were issues. All of that, you had to know how to wind it back, how to operate a set piece of equipment, and not just a computer and some software. And I think that's probably what I'm getting at, is that now a lot of those skills are all in a computer, and once you've mastered one, you can move what you've learned across to something else. So, and the example I used then was editing. It's very similar in a funny kind of way. If you look at even the layout of your editing software, looks pretty similar to a DAW. You've got a series of layers or channels, and it's really, you're just deciding what will be what the priority is of those things. And so, you know, once you get some sort of skill at that, transferring that knowledge across to something else is quite, it's a lot easier than we think. I think we tend to silo ourselves and say, oh, you know, I'm a musician, so I'm not going to do pictures, or I'm an animator, I'm not going to make sound, or, you know, I do synth music, so I'm not going to sing. You know, and in some ways, yeah, we kind of do ourselves a bit of a disservice in doing that. So I have tried and am trying to break out of that and not worry too much. Okay, it's taken me a long time, but things are getting a lot easier to do. You know, if you look at making music in a DAW now is certainly a lot easier than it was even. You know, when I started, we were using Notator, and you basically, it was a tracker. You wrote the code for that, and it was more like computer coding compared to now. You know, and it's just what you can do now, and is to make something quite simple is very simple. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, compared to like 10 years ago, things are much more automated even, which, yes, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But yeah, definitely those made things much easier and made music making much more accessible to anyone, really.
Yeah, and now it's even on your phone. So, you know, so it's opened it up. It's opened it right up. It's a bit like what happened with, say, film and cameras. You know, if you look at 100 years ago, you basically either needed to have a patron or be rich to take photos. Now it's you need to own a phone, a smartphone, and that's it. You know, that's quite a revolution, and that means a lot more people are taking photos. A lot more people are interested in taking photos, and I think that will happen, or it is happening with music. And I don't think we should think that you should restrict yourself just to I only do photos. If you're doing photos, then you should be editing video, and you should be making sound. You should be thinking, I need to get the next thing, because at the end of the day, then you can create your whole world.
Yes.
And that's and then at the then you are, that's a pretty cool place to be, I think.
Yeah, I guess we're
place.
Sorry?
That will be commonplace.
Yes.
In 10 years, we'll be thinking back, well, that was bonkers that we didn't have a full editing suite and Logic or Ableton stuck below it. Mm-hmm. The fact that at the moment, all our DAWs don't have a very good editing system above for editing pictures is a little bit behind the game. And when you start to think about it, because really we should be editing pictures and doing the sound at the same time, because it is all. That's how you're going to get a better job, isn't it? We tend to work with if you're making a music video, well, then you're doing pictures to something that's a sealed unit, the song's a sealed unit, or vice versa. You're working to a feature film. You're given your pictures and you're having to do the sound to it. But the best world is where they're both liquid, and you're able to adjust the pitches because the sound is doing something that's cooler here, and you're able to adjust the and switch it around if you need to, or open it up, or unravel things, because it's and I think that's that for me at the moment is kind of where I'm heading now.
So yes, I guess we're all becoming multidisciplinary artists somehow.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because you're a drummer, yeah?
Once again, sorry?
You play drums?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. I started playing the drums when I was 14, 15, and I've been playing ever since. I don't have I mean, I was never ambitious about becoming a rock star or a professional drummer. It's just something that I enjoy doing very much, and I still do, really. I have a band. We have rehearsal every week. We have a few concerts. I mean, we used to before the pandemic hit, and now things are slowly coming back to normal. But yeah, it's real fun. Playing live. It's one of the most beautiful things that I can think of.
Yeah, because how do you find that taking the drumming side into what you're doing with the synth side? Then how do they translate? Do you find that because you're playing drums, suddenly you've got all these, you're really good at, I don't know, are there certain things that you find translate really well?
I don't know. I always considered I always considered them separately. So I always thought, okay, when I play the drums, I like playing rock music, for example. I like playing hard rock and playing loud, and then when I make my own ambient tracks, I have a different approach. I'm more into delicate sounds, subtle ambient layers, and it's a very different approach.
Right.
But at the same time, I think that everything converged and made me the music maker I am today. So I developed a taste which includes both rock and hard rock music and ambient electronic music, and honestly I really like it, because I feel like I can I have a broad range of sounds that I can be inspired by, and it's amazing in a way, because I was never the kind of person, I think, just like you said, that there are people who might just be doing one thing, but it wouldn't take them long to learn how to do something else. and I was always interested in doing different things. So with Naviar, for example, I make music, but I also, edit the pictures. I make some videos as well. I curate the albums, and I organize events. And I was never, I was never really good at doing any of these things, but I learned how to do them as I tried,
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's great. It's great to try different things. I'm always interested in knowing how people make music or make their art in general. It's something that fascinates me, and it's also the reason why we do these online meetings, because I'm curious to know how members of Naviar's community make their music, and it all becomes part uh, of um, of our knowledge, and then we can use it to make something else.
Yeah, no, I've certainly got a few tips watching your past. It's and also listening, each week when the new tracks come out, just listening to what people have been doing is a great you pick up so many different things, and people will be doing something. You think, oh shit, I should try that. Like you were talking to someone about using horns. Well, I spent the next week trying to do something with horns, but, unsuccessfully. But still, it was cool. It put me down this lovely little rabbit hole for a while, playing with sampled horns and what have you, which normally I don't. I kind of steer clear of. I don't know why. And yeah, so it's things like that it's just those. Yeah, I love that. That's what and that's what I like about that. Why haiku? How did that start then?
It just happened. I was in a coffee shop one day, and I was listening to music, and I came across a haiku book. There was a bookshelf, there was a haiku book, and I started reading, and I realized that there was a connection. It was just a moment. It just came to my mind, and it was a time when I was trying to find a way to be creative regularly. So one thing I noticed, I was in my early 20s back then, and I thought there were moments when I was inspired and I would make music, but then there were moments when I just didn't feel like it, and I would spend a month or 2 months without making music at all, and then start all over again. And I could see that there was no progress. I wasn't improving my skills. I wasn't improving as a musician. So I thought what I should do is I should try to find a way to be regular, to be creative regularly on a regular basis. So I thought, what about making music inspired by haiku every week? And I tried on my own. Initially, it was just something that I was doing on my own. And then I thought, well, it works for me. Maybe I can try. I can try to invite other people to do that. And here we are, 430 weeks later.
And you think of how many tracks and how many musicians have gone through, how many, and also just that community and how many people have met each other through it. It starts to add up, doesn't it? And like, you've got the albums coming out, you've got the videos, it's crazy.
No, it's been honestly, it's been a fantastic journey. I cannot think of anything else, like anything else that I've accomplished that makes me so proud. I look at it and I think, it's a small project, but it just makes me happy to see that there are so many people making music, so many people interested in it, and it just I always try to get better at things, to improve the project as a result, and in a way made me the person I am today. So I thank Naviar in a way. It really helped me.
And I think going back to what you're saying about having a practice, the value of that, and that's probably something that I've learnt, and and has been certainly reinforced by what you're doing, and that having a set, like I now have a set time, like I now get up early in the morning, which I to think that I even would do that 3 years ago is quite mad. But now I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning to go and play music, because I have, between say 6:30 and 8, I have at least an hour and a half, and hopefully I'm up even earlier, where I can make music. No one will ring me, no one will bother me at all, and I can do it every day. It's just something that and it's almost like a form of meditation now, where it's it's like a little world that a creative world which I can go into, and which it nourishes you as well. And I think that's the beauty of the challenge, and that it gives it an output.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fantastic. And
that's really valuable, I think, because I think I've been doing it for years, but without an output, I had an output was putting it on a drive and forgetting about it. Whereas now, when you do have an output, or you put things out into the wild, it does force you to just to polish it to at least to a level that you can listen to it a week later.
Yes.
And so look, there are certainly things that I've put up there, and you go, a week later, you go, what was I thinking? But other times, you listen back a month, probably a year later, and you go, gosh, I don't even remember doing that. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember how I got those sounds, or what I was using to get that. And that's kind of cool. But yeah, I think that having that practice and doing it, I was going to say religiously, but yeah, pretty much, doing it on the daily. Yes. So that you're out doing it every day. If I don't do it now, I don't. Yeah, I was away last week and I didn't do it for a day, and it just felt a little whole. It's it's not the same, and that's So and I there's a lot of value in that, and I think it's. I want everyone to have that feeling, and that's that's the beauty of I guess having some sort of artistic practice, is that it does give you it gives you something which is it's very hard to describe, but it feeds your soul. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's to have a habit, to do it regularly, is the key. I said that before, but I think that if someone wants to make music and they want to improve and get better at it, then the only way to do that is to do it regularly, if not daily, at least 2-3 times a week, until you hone your skills, and it becomes a habit, just like you said. And the fact that you wake up early in the morning to make music is interesting, fascinating, and I envy you a little. I wish I could do the same, but
well, there's two things that happen that make it. Well, one major thing is that you get to see the dawn, and that's become sort of another. You get, which is this. The planet puts these 2 amazing shows on twice a day, the sunrise and sunset. So you get to see that. Mm-hmm. And that's another real, that's another beauty of getting up early, is that suddenly something that you used to sleep through for many years of your life, you're now getting up and enjoying. And that just adds this whole other layer to it, which, so there's a lot of advantages, but probably the main one is, there's no distractions, none whatsoever. There's nothing.
Yes.
You come here and you do it. And now it's really weird. I'll lie in bed and I have to get out of bed. I'm like, it's like it's Christmas or something. I have to go and I'll think of an idea. I think, oh shit, I have to go and do that. It'll be like 5 o'clock and I'm in here, and 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm in here. It's like, because I've got this idea that, I can do something with this and pipe it through in a different way, and I might get something different, or something's happened and I'm inspired by it. But yeah, that's certainly, I wasn't expecting it to be like that. Look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, it's been a real bonus. And I think, I hope I kind of feel my understanding of what I'm doing. I feel like I know less in a funny kind of way because it's just got bigger. Mm. But I do feel that my ears are getting, I'm able to now hear things that maybe I couldn't hear before. Mm. And I notice that when I listen to other people's music as well, I'm able to probably dissect things a little bit with a little bit. I'm a little bit sharper, look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Through practice.
I guess it's because you just you learned more about how music is made and how other people make music, and I have sometimes I have the same. So I listen to someone's music and I think, I think I know how they did it. I think I know the instruments they used and the software they used, and it's interesting. But it comes with with practice. You need to listen to a lot of music, and you need to know the process behind it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I guess that's the other thing is I love the journey. Mm-hmm. The final thing going out, that's cool, but it's getting to that stage. That's we start and you come in the morning and there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And 2 hours later there might be something, or there's nothing. But it's it's cool. At the end of the week, hopefully there's something, and if there isn't, well,
next week
there'll be something next week. And I did find that I don't know, I got busy. I was doing a lot of editing, and that was certainly it was taking a lot of my energy, and I noticed that I missed maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and even though I was doing stuff, I was still practicing every morning, but I didn't have that time to finish anything. Mm-hmm. I tend to do, like when you put a haiku up, I tend to have a go maybe 3 or 4 days in a row at trying a different thing for it, and then I'll maybe, well, one of them will be quite obvious which one I want to do. So and then I'll start to hone it. Mm-hmm. So I tend to have a lot more ideas, and then I'll hone one of them that I think fits or talks to me more than the others. Mm-hmm. And then that one then becomes the beginning of whatever I put out.
Okay.
Do you do that, or do you just have one track? Or
it depends on how much time I have. Sometimes one thing that I've been doing recently is I don't know. I don't know the haiku poem that I'll be posting much before other people. Generally, I choose 1 or 2 days before I publish it. And when I publish it, I write down what the poem makes me think about, what I think about the poem and the kind of sounds that it inspires. And after I do that, I sit down and I try to make some music inspired by it. That's a process that I like because it helps me think about what I want to achieve first, and
Yeah.
and then I sit down and compose rather than just trying to play something right away. And I like that. But sometimes it's just, it just happens. I think of a melody, I record it, and I think, oh, this works.
Yeah.
I think it fits. And so I have these two different approaches
Do
generally.
you, when you're starting out, do you use like the same keyboard, or when you the first time you put down an idea, do you use the same piece of equipment each time, or are you using lots of different things?
Well, it's a shame because I used to have my recording studio here, which is gone. Now it's been replaced by my daughter's stuff, which is behind me, but it's hidden. And
Yeah.
but I have a synthesizer which I've been using for the last 12 years, and I like it very much because it's very simple. It's very basic in a way. It's easy to play with sounds and to create ambient layers. So I use that when I want to make some retro ambient sound or music. I use that one. Otherwise, I have a keyboard. I have a piano keyboard, and generally for melodies, I use that one.
Right.
And otherwise, if I'm somewhere else, I'm always traveling. I have a small MIDI keyboard I carry with me, and I use that one to sketch out ideas on the go. These are the,
Yeah.
let's say, the three options I have.
Mm.
Would you like to show us your equipment now?
Well, I'm pretty similar. I don't like you can see it there, can't you? I don't have a lot of. I guess the things I've learned is that, and you had, for you that's now a problem, but one of the things I have learned is that I have it all laid out now. Before I'd have it in different in different states of laid out. Let's put it that way. But now it's pretty much if I turn this on, I can be playing in less. If I can't be playing in like 15 seconds almost, I need that kind of speed now, that I can just turn something on, MIDI's working, it's working with Logic, everything's connected, this is connected, it's routed through the sound. I don't have to do. I find as soon as I have a barrier of like, oh shit, my MIDI's mucked up, or I need to go and get a power supply or a cable, any sort of area, just suddenly it's like you're in a flow, and any barrier restricts that flow. So I do try and have it so that most of what I use is on instantly, and I pretty much, when I start out, I'll turn it all on, and then I'm off, and then I can sort of switch between if I want to. I tend to use, like you, I've got a MIDI controller, and I do a lot of stuff in the box. I'm not I don't have a big thing about analog and digital, or in or outside the box. It's all, there's that everything has its advantages and disadvantages. I do tend to start over here though. Now and then I will start straight in the computer. I'll do something in I've got Reactor. Have you used Reactor? Do you know Reactor?
No, I know about it, but I don't use it.
It's pretty cool. I've now started to use a lot of free stuff. I'm finding that the software, obviously on the computer, but there's so many cool plugins now that are free, and instruments that are free, or cost very little. And I'm tending to use I tend to favor those now. It's really cool. Just this constant supply of great stuff out there. You don't need to I've invested a lot. I've got the Native Instruments is probably the biggest. I've got the contact library, and and I've had that for a very long time. But that's probably the big thing. Mm-hmm. I tend to I'll show you a couple of things. I do things like these kind of. Have you ever seen these? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. What is it?
It's a kid's electronics toy. So it's really just a modular setup. So you can basically, these wires, depending on where you put them, will give you a different sound effect. So great. You spend 20 minutes setting it up, and then you've got a sound that you never, you'll never hear again. The other, I do a lot of. Do you do DIY?
Not very much, no.
Yeah, I've been doing. I did a lot of DIY. I kind of stopped for a while because I was making a lot of things that weren't working very well, and or I was blowing stuff up, or which is a little bit sad. I've got a DFAN. That's probably my favorite. The drummer from Another Mother. Have you the Moog thing, the Moog Vogue, and but I did connect some of my DIY stuff to it at some stage, and blew half of it up, which was very sad. So for about half a year I didn't have I was in the shop getting fixed through COVID. So I'm a lot more careful now with my setup. But the other thing that I like to use is, I'll show you these, is these kind of things, which are can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is basically it's just an oscillator. Mm-hmm. So I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. They're just old oscillators, and you connect them up and put them on a different pitch, and you've got chords, and you start playing around with those, and very quickly you've got quite a unique sounding track that then you can edit in a sampler or whatever, and you've got something that's that sounds really fat, like it's really cool. And then I've done a lot of it's kind of, I sort of got in, so I do a lot of this is my matrix mixer, so I've got a lot of things like this, so it's all I did a lot of that kind of stuff as well, and that, so I'll put those oscillators through that, and that gives me a different sound again, because I think at the end of the day now I am kind of trying to look at, I do have this idea that it'd be lovely to have a setup that is a lot of the oscillators and a lot of the pretty much the synth that I'm playing is one that I've made myself, and I've kind of done enough DIY that I've done the various bits. I just haven't put them together, and I've kind of, that's the next thing, is I need to put it all together and create something that has its own little sound.
Mm-hmm. You're like a Renaissance man.
Well,
a man from the Renaissance. You can create your own instruments, you can make videos, you can make music through your DAW, you can do everything.
Well, because I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's about, it's like 10 years ago. I actually, it started through a job. I got a job to do some sound in a statue, and I had no idea how to get the sound into the statue. I had no idea how it was going to play. I just had no idea what I was going to do, and that's what sort of started me down the whole DIY thing. So next thing, you're doing Arduino, and then from Arduino, you get into CMOS and Lunetas, and you know, it just keeps on going, and one thing leads to another, and yeah, and that's kind of what's, because I didn't really want to start getting back into, I've been doing most of my stuff inside the computer, and so I didn't really get back into synths and, you know, the whole into hardware basically.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of started that, and next thing, you know, it's a very slippery slope once you start. Although I've now kind of curbed that. I find too, if you have too much hardware, you don't make music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You tend to get yeah. And also you need to know what you've got and what it can do. You know, and you need to know it really well.
Mm-hmm. And
so I was getting into the stage where I'd had a synth and I didn't know what half it was doing really. And so yeah, so I kind of I've really slowed that down now, and I haven't had anything, and I'm not even looking now. I'm quite happy with what I've got, and it's not about I don't think it's about hardware, you know. I don't think that's it's not the solution to making yourself more creative by having more synths. I don't think there's no that equation does not equal, you know, it's not a true equation. So yeah, so that's been, and that was a bit of a lesson too. You know, yeah, I started. Do you get into Eurorack? Did you do all of that?
No, I never did.
And see that that is just, yeah. I started and thought, no, this is it's really cool, but I've just spent my whole life playing, just tweaking things, you know.
Yes, I know. Sometimes actually we I don't remember who mentioned it in one of our previous episodes, but sometimes looking for new sounds and new music instruments all the time can become an excuse not to make music, and that becomes a problem in the long run, because you just feel like you don't have the right equipment to make the music that you want to. But in fact, the vision you have of the sound, the vision you have in your mind is one thing, but the reality is another. You can do so much with so little now. Like you said, there are so many free plugins or affordable plugins. You can do with a cheap MIDI keyboard and a few plugins, you can make music, and you don't really need anything else. Once you learn how to use these tools, you can expand, and you can get to the point where you can make the most out of the instruments that you have. But collecting hardware and software won't make your music better. It will make the music making process more complicated and sometimes overwhelming, because you will start looking for the right sound all the time. Oh, maybe I should change this, maybe I should change that, maybe I should buy a new plugin to see how it sounds. And the chances that it will sound better are, I would say it's 50-50. But you know, but the time that you spend, that you invest looking for the right sound, it's time wasted. Sometimes you just need to make music and that's it. And then over time you will learn how to make it better.
No, I agree 100%. I think it's certainly it's certainly something I've learned in the last couple of years, and that, you know, gas is not a good thing. So yeah, definitely, and yeah, I think I've got something that now this works for me. I find that I need, you know, some mornings I'll come in, I'll use this, some mornings I'll start here, some mornings I'll start here, some mornings I'll start down there, some mornings I'll start in the box. And so that's enough that I, you know, that I can come in and there'll be one way to get started. I have enough options to get started, and that's all you need, I think. You know, is that way in, and once you're rolling, once the flow's happening, you're off. You know.
Yeah.
And then I had a lot over the years. I'd accumulated a lot of plugins, and just, you know, as everyone does, you know, you get free ones, you get them from here, you get them from there, and before I put them out, put anything onto your site, I thought, I should just start again. So I just delete all my plugins, and it was particularly freeing, because there are a lot that, you know, you downloaded 10 years ago that weren't even working, that were they just clogged up the whole system, and then start fresh. And now, you know, I've probably got maybe, I don't know, 15 or something. That's it, and they're all free, and you know, that's cool. Yes. And I don't miss. Okay, there's some that come with native instruments, obviously, and but they're pretty much all free, and that's been the really cool thing, is exploring, you know, things like that. And another one would be, say, Forester. I don't know if have you seen that?
Which one? Forester.
It's been around for a long time. It runs in Macs, because I'm doing things in pictures as well. So I like to look and see what Max is doing, Touch Designer, all those kind of things as well, which are sort of interactive software that you write interactive projects in. And so people write a lot of audio software in Max. So it's Max for Live. Mm-hmm. And do you use Ableton?
Yeah, I do, yes.
You do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I tried Max for Live as well, and yes, I tried. It didn't work out.
Actually, I'll tell you a little. There's kind of like its little brother. It's called Pure Data. I don't know if you've seen that. Mm-hmm. And I think is an easier gateway into Max, and that. So it's the free version of Max. It's the guy who wrote Max, then left Max and created Pure Data, or created Pure Data first, and basically it's free software, but it's fairly simple, and there's a lot of examples out there, so you can grab an example and just hack it and start making your own things quite quickly. And so that's been quite an eye-opener as well, because it opens up this whole other world of, you know, you being able to really simply program something. And it is really, you know, I'm talking baby steps here, but you are able to do quite sophisticated things in quite a simple way, and that it's very modular. And so once you start getting into that, it opens up, you know, Touch Designer, and it opens up Max and all these other things as well, because it's just a way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Okay. Exactly how modular works and how your synth works. So you're really just replicating a lot of you know, what the hardware synth did in the 70s mm-hmm. in some software. So yeah, I recommend that. So that's quite cool actually. And I've sort of done a wee bit in that over the last year, and it's been quite fruitful.
All right. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I'll give it a try. All right, Jeff. So I have a last question for you. I always ask this question to people I interview. So do you have anything coming up? Do you have a project you're working on right now that you would like to tell us about?
Well, because of what we're doing, I'm now about, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, I thought I should see if anyone wants to collaborate with me on anything. And so I just sent some messages to like probably about 4 or 5 people who were doing things that were, I wanted to do things for people who were doing things that were quite different to what I was doing as well. So it's, you know, it's, yeah, it's so, and one of them, I've now finished one of them, and it was glorious. You know, it's a lot of, it was collaborating with a guy called Christian, and I think he's in Hamburg. So you never meet, it's a bit like when you're talking to Rath Robin the other day, and you know, that was the first time they'd made no together over 5 years, and that was the first time they'd seen each other. You know, that's seen each other talk. That's pretty, you know, that's very I guess that's the way it is. And so that's something that's, yeah, I've done one with Christian. I'm doing another one at the moment with a woman called Jennifer, and she's quite different again. And it's just been incredible when you get something back. It's like, wow, you know,
yeah,
you're not expecting, you know, it just opens up this whole other world. So that's something I thought you and I could do one.
Definitely.
we have to do something. But that's the thing. It's having that dialogue with someone in a creative way is I find it particular is very fulfilling. It's a great you know, and it's a privilege as well that they're giving their time and their creativity and bothering to do something with you. It's really been cool, really special. So, and that's something that, you know, it's white. Yeah. There's so many people out there, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. It's
yes.
When with the haiku challenge, or with the challenges that we do with Naviar, it's always nice when I see people collaborating, especially people who never met, or people who didn't know each other's music before.
Yep.
And then suddenly, you know, they message me and say, oh, we're collaborating on an album, or we just made a track together. And you think, wow, it's such a you know, it's empowering in a way, because it makes you realize how important it is to collaborate with other people as well, because it seems like it's a solitary process to make music the way we do, but it doesn't have to be.
No.
So
that's what I was finding, is that I was probably becoming quite insular, and there's a real beauty in working with other people. You know, it's community, isn't it? We all want community, and that's just it's another way of getting it. So no, that and it's been incredible, and I'll definitely, over the next year, I'm going to do a lot more of that, because it's something I'm really enjoying, and you learn so much doing it.
Yes.
One of the cool things I did, Christian, when we put it out, and I don't know how to describe what he does. I think he calls it lo-fi, what he does. But we both did we did a track together, and we both did different mixes. So we did our own mix of what we did together. And, you know, so I've got his one, and I've got the one I did, and they're really quite different. But, you know, I prefer this one. But it's really cool, because you get to see the differences in our approaches, and you know, he's doing things that I wish I'd thought or I wish I was brave enough to do, you know. It's that kind of thing. So that's been, and the same with Jennifer, which I'm doing now, you know, exactly the same. You get it back and you go, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. So this is I'm going to ask you one last question, and then we're going to move to the live set that you made for us. Can you introduce it to us? Can you tell us a little bit about the live set that you made? I know that you did both visuals and sounds. So is there a so what inspired it?
Yeah, what I've been trying to do is combine to combine, obviously what we've been talking about is doing the visual and the sound thing, and I'm sort of just scratching the surface. So this is like a first step, or probably a second step towards that. But it's I guess it's taking nature and bringing it into what I do. So it's trying to understand, because now I'm more marveled by what's outside, outside my door. There are much better musicians than, the birds outside my door every morning. I just, that's incredible, the dawn chorus and singing it during the day. So I'm trying to bring that feeling into what I do in pictures. So it's bringing in the nature, but at the same time, I'm also exploring generative software that creates pictures, and also bringing in footage that I've edited or footage that I've shot. So it's trying to combine all those things. But yeah, it's been a cool. It's been this was an interesting one to do, because I've been using Touch Designer to do the visuals, which I hadn't done. I did that clip in with Rough Robin, but I hadn't done much in it. So it's sort of the next iteration of what I've been doing in that. So that appears in this. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure we will. All right, Jeff. I would like to once again thank you very much for your time today. It was really inspiring. Some of the things you told me, and some of the things you said are really inspiring, and it made me feel like I should be making more music, really. so thank you.
Start in the morning.
yeah, I should try. Okay,
already.
Sorry, once again.
Like you don't have enough to do already.
Yeah, I know, but I should find the time to make music. That's the thing, and it's an important part of. It should be an important part of everyone's life, and I should get back to it. But I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you very much again.
Very much.
Down, 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 down.
Morning.
Can you confirm your full name and date of birth?
Jesus, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. You have a nice
Thank
day,
you so
guys,
much.
eh?
That was very gentle.
Hmm?
That was very gentle. Thank you very much. Nice touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Favourite ice water. Thank you.